In this walkthrough video, I'm going to take you through creation of a project all the way through exporting it. We'll go through all the steps. This is a project I worked on some time back. It was with the company Spears and Arrows, who was generous enough to allow us to use the boards for this demo. First thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the Add New Project button on the project page. And first we're going to give the project a project name, which is the name that it's saved under. It was a McDonald's spot, so we're going to call it a McDonald's demo project for the sake of this demonstration. You can also enter the project title. This is optional. You don't have to put it in here, but if you have a template that already has project title as a variable, then it'll just import this once you put it in there. No matter what project you're on, it will always grab the project title and put that at the top of the page. And next we're going to go down to the project calendar. I'm going to grab a couple of random days here. Let's make it a Thursday and a Friday. So you just click on it, and then those dates become your schedule dates. And while I'm here, I'm going to enter a client logo, which is McDonald's. And we also have the project logo. Sometimes I put the advertising agency here. For the sake of this demo, I'm just going to use company. It's a little generic logo. And I'm going to add the spot names here too. You don't have to do this right now if you don't want to at the beginning of the project. But since I have them handy, I'm going to put them in here. So there's 4 spots that we're going to look at. And I can just add each one of these in here. Then I can assign storyboards to those spots once we get to the image library. So once I have all the spots in here, I'm going to go and create the project. So you just click this button here at the bottom, and it's going to take us to the image library. So I have 3 options here. I'm going to select extract storyboards. So it's going to pull the storyboards directly from a PDF that I've got stored on my laptop. If I use the top button, I could download images like JPEGs or screenshots. And the bottom button allows me to import an entire PDF that I could then manually extract the frames from if I wanted to. And it could take, from several seconds to a few minutes, depending on how many storyboards you have and how big they are. So here's all my storyboards. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and grab these pack shots, which I know we're not shooting, and I'm going to remove them just so they're not in the way. So I just click on those and I select delete images. And now I've got all these storyboards in my image library. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on each one of them and assign them to spots. So I know these are all part of the Hot Wheels spot. So now I'm just going to click on this first icon down at the bottom, and it's got all the spots that we entered. Now you could enter spots right here if you wanted to, but since we've already done it, we can just select the ones that are already there. So I'm going to go down and we'll take our next spot, which is Pokemon. So now, as you can see, they're being grouped by spot, so you can keep track of the storyboards for each commercial. And last, I can just take all of the remaining storyboards, since I know they all belong in one spot, and let's assign them to Snoopy. So again, I could click Add New and add a spot right here if I wanted to, but we've already entered the spot, so we don't need to do that. But you can do that if you want to wait until this portion to actually name the spots. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to number them. So I can just click on the box here, and I can add some numbers. And this is 2A and 2B as I look at the storyboards. And then I can just fill in the rest of these, and they'll all be numbered. If these happen to be in order. If they were out of order, then I can use the reorder button to put them back in order. Now there's another feature we have. Since these are in order, I can use the Tab plus key to enter the numbers. And you can see they add really fast. So I'm just Tab plus, Tab plus, Tab plus, and the Tab plus enters the next sequential number. There's also space below each image to put an image label, which are notes about each shot if you wanted. I tend to not put the descriptions here because I think there's a better place to do that. If you want to put a lens or a note like a tracking shot, then those are the kind of things you may want to put in the image label. Now, before we move on, I want to revisit one more option in the image library. If you click on the bottom button, you can import an entire PDF instead of individual storyboards. I often find that I want more control over storyboard extraction, or I find that many PDFs are not encoded in a way to make extraction conducive. In these cases, you can press on the pencil icon beside the image, and an editing window will open. Here you can select from a list of aspect ratios. This one is 16:9, and I can resize it to fit the image exactly. You then press the Save button. The individual frame will be saved to the image library. If you're working with a keyboard, you can press the space bar, and that will save the image. You can then move the selection tool to each frame and repeat the action to save them all to the image library. When you get to the end of the page, you can use the arrow to navigate to the next page, and the selection tool will already be there in the same size that you've set it. You can also use a custom selection tool to select multiple or odd size images. When you're done, you'll find all of the images saved in the image library as individual frames. Now that everything's numbered and grouped, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of the images. I'm going to go down and I'm going to assign them to the shot list. You just hit this assign, and now you see there's a little blue icon that shows up, and this shows that that image is associated with the shot list. So we go up to the top menu and we're going to click on shot list. And now you can see all of the boards. They're now assigned to a strip. If you look, the native information for each frame has traveled with the frame. So if you move that frame around, then the frame number and the spot will follow it wherever it goes. So you don't have to keep typing that in. The next thing I like to do with the shot list before I start scheduling, I kind of go through and see, are there any shots that maybe I could combine that might be the same shot? In this case, these two shots look very similar, so I'm going to hit the merge button. When you click on two strips, the first strip becomes the master strip. It's green. Second strip or third strip are subordinate strips, and they're blue. Any merge strip is going to replace the master strip. So there are three places you can click on a setup strip. We've already seen that clicking on the left side allows you to highlight one or more strips for strip management. If you click on the right side to the right of the storyboards, you open up a breakdown page. And on this page, you can see that all the identifying information for the different storyboard frames is already there. And this is where you can enter information like cast and requirements that are pertinent to each setup. Now that I've got kind of all the strips in here, I'm going to go through and I'm going to put the location in. So exterior McDonald's store and the time of day. I don't do this for every spot because a lot of spots, the location and the time of day is the same for every shot. So it just becomes redundant. But since we have 4 different spots and some different locations, I'm going to enter this, and that way you can at least see how it's done. Now, once I've entered one and I've got some that are the same, I can click on the left side. I can highlight these frames and I can click on the fill button, which is the paint bucket button on the left, and it's going to copy those things down into the other strips. And these shots are all exterior shots, so we're going to do the same thing. Just going to go interior, set time of day. We're going to just choose these, and that gets copied. We'll do the same thing in the next spot, which is Hot Wheels. We're going to go interior living room and day. And then I can do the same thing. And we can kind of go through, and these are all the same. So we'll copy all of these down. So at this point now everything's in. And I'm going to add some cast members now. So you click on the Add Cast Member bar, the gray bar, and then this opens up a window and you can type in some new cast members. And you can put extras in here too. You can also do an extra breakdown and kind of break out what the extras are doing. I'm going to save this, and now these cast members now show up on the strip. And these cast members actually play through this whole spot. So I'm going to just fill the cast members down. So I just go up there and click on cast members and fill that down, and they're all there. Now I know some ADs that fill out all their information here on the shot list. I tend to like to only fill out a few things and then schedule and then complete the process. But right now we're going to keep adding cast members in. So again, you just go down into the breakdown page, press on the Add Cast Member bar, and then you can enter these cast members. You can also copy them, and then you can copy them down as necessary. Once we've actually put their names in, then you can click on the cast member bar, and if you start typing their name, it will auto-complete for you. So you can just select the actor that's already in there. So if you see on this dinner scene, everybody has already been entered before, so I can get these folks in here pretty quick. I can just start typing the names, and I can hit return once it highlights the correct name. So we're getting them all in here, and we save this. And I'm going to show you one other thing here. If you have a cast member, you can add it, and you already have other cast members already in the strip. You can add that cast member. Now, if I hit replace existing information, it would replace all of those people. But if you don't click that, then it will just add the name to the existing cast members. So at this point now, I think I'm going to go to the schedule. Now I think I'm ready to start laying these into days. Once you get to the schedule, the days that you selected on the calendar are already there. So now we're going to go to the day menu, and we click on this. We're going to add banners. And I'm going to add a banner template. Banners are information that are not shot related, like crew call and lunch, that just give us a time. If you go up to My Account into the user settings, you got all kind of cool things, but you've got your banner template that you can edit. This is the one I built. You can move it around if you want to. You can also click the little box that says add when creating a shoot day, so it automatically adds the banner to it. I didn't have it created when I made this demo, but you can do it, and then this will appear automatically on each day, and you don't have to add it manually. So now we're going to go back to the project page, and we're going to go back on our McDonald's demo, which you're going to be taken straight to the shooting schedule because you've already started it. So let's add another banner template. Let's add the banner template, and now we have 2 days built with all of our templates in. Now the next thing I can do is I can add strips using the day menu here, but I'm going to do it with the shortcuts. On each strip or each banner, there's a little shortcut that allows you to add banners and strips directly after that banner. So I know I'm going to be starting in the house. So I'm going to grab all of the Snoopy strips and I'm going to add them here. And they're going to put them right in after that load in setup because that's where I selected. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take all of these Hot Wheel strips and I'm going to put these right into the same day. So you add the strips, and now they're all in. You know what? I'm probably going to have lunch in between the two of these, so I'm just going to drag this. You can just grab to the right and drag things around. Let's put it right there for the right now. So there we go. There's day one kind of laid in, and now let's take a look at day two. We're in the McDonald's store for day two. So in this case, I'm going to highlight all of these Pokemon because that's where we're going to start. And that's our daytime interior. And starting there. And then after lunch, I'm going to add our second spot, which is just a nighttime spot. And I can actually just go up and select all of these strips and add the strips. And so now everything's in there once again. Oops, it looks like I left a Pokemon strip in there at the end, but I'll take care of that in a second. So now I can go through it. I'm going to create some banners that I know I'm going to need. Once we get in, we're going to reset for the interior of the capsule. I know that's going to happen because we're going to shoot in that capsule and then we're going to pull it out and then we're going to go into the interior. And then we're going to move inside the house. So let's create a banner for that too. And let's just move inside house. And we'll create that banner, and that's just going to appear right below the strip that we were editing. I know we have one more where we're going to reset for the staircase. So let's put those in here now. We'll create this, and now we have a banner for the staircase here. So now I'm going to go through and look and see, are these in the right order? Let's say I can move them around, as you can see, but I think right now I kind of got them the way we want them. Although, you know what? Let's combine these two. Even though it's a lens change, I'm going to keep these in the same, sort of in the same setup, because nothing else is going to change. If I go down to the second spot in the day, I know I'm going to start with the two kids at the top of the stairs. So we're going to cut those and paste them. And you can cut and paste any strips or banners, and the order that you actually select them will determine the order that they are pasted. So you can rearrange them in that process. I know these shots of the cars are going to be at the end of the day. Let's take them down. We're going to cut them, look for this dotted line, and they're going to get pasted right below that dotted line. So now they're at the end of the day. And let's go back up and take a look at the order of things. I think this shot of mom, these two shots here, we have our little product shot on the table, and then we have our car shots. Next, I go down to the next one. Let's take that Pokemon strip back up to where it belongs, which is right up first shot of the day. Let's keep the daughter with the angle on the daughter. Everything else looks good. And I'm going to go back to the top, and now I'm going to enter a call time. So I can go day menu, select a call time, make sure the display times box is checked. And then the time will show up right there on the banner. So now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a pre-call. So just to show you what a pre-call looks like. Pre-calls are going to be negative numbers. So it would be a negative 1 hour. And if you're doing an hour and a half, it'd be a negative hour, 1 hour, negative 30. In this case, I'm just doing the hour. And wherever the strip is, it's always relative to the call time. So I'm going to just drag it up there. So if you change the call time, the pre-call will change as well. And then I can go through and put durations in to all of these strips. On the right, I've got a little duration window, and you can just put it in and hit return, or you can click on the strip. Either one will enter the time. So you look, that says 7 to 7:30. We're going to reset for the interior of the capsule. That's probably half an hour. Let's do that. And we're just going to go down and assign durations to each one of these strips. So I'm looking at this. Let's call that half an hour. Let's call the next one half an hour too. There's some performance in here, although there's not much relighting. So I'm just going to kind of keep on that. And then we have, let's call this last shot's 15 minutes. We're going to be in tight, and we're just going to do a whip. And we're just going to do a special whip pan off. So that's good. Now we're going to move inside the house. Let's say, I put 30 minutes in earlier. Let's go 45 to move into the house. There'll already be pre-lighting in there, so we should be able to get in there pretty easily. And then I want to include our little daughter's image with whip pan with mom. So I'm going to duplicate the image. So I go back to the image library. I've selected it, and I've hit copy. And so now I can go to the shot of the mom, and I click in the image area, and that's going to show up there. And I can just make some room and rearrange these. So now I know just visually that that's a whip pan to mom. So I'm going to include that in there. And then let's give 30 minutes for the performance in this wide shot. And then we'll go 15 minutes in here for this last shot. And, lunch is too early. That's because I didn't put any time in the setup. So let's go load in setup. Go right in there, that strip. Let's say it's an hour and a half to get up and going in this house. So I'll just go to the strip. I'll add an hour and a half. And let's go back down and see where that puts our lunch time at. And just scroll down, and lunch is at 12:45. That's perfect. Gives me a 15-minute buffer if I need it. And we're going to make lunch an hour. And this move to the staircase afterwards, I think let's call that another hour, because that's a full relight. While we're in that hour, I'm going to actually add this little note to put the kids in school. I can put on the banner, so information like that can be shown on the banner itself. So now we're into the next thing, and I can just continue to add times, and you just go down through all the different strips. And I just heard that shot of the car needs to have the people in the background, even though it's not boarded that way. So we're going to move it back up. We're going to make it 15 minutes, and we're going to put it right after frame 3. So let's see where that leaves us on our wrap time, 7:15. Well, I want a 12-hour day, and I want to be out of there by 7. So I'm going to call this last shot. I'm going to go to the notes section on the breakdown page. I'm going to put in time permitting. And that way now we can see, I know we're going to do it while we're wrapping because it's a GoPro shot that's attached to the car. But I want to keep that on there, let art department know what's going to be happening, and we'll call it a time permitting shot. So there's day 1. And now let's go day 2, and we're going to do a call time again. This one's going to be a little later at 12:30 p.m. because we have a split day. When I put in the time, the display times box is already checked. And now I'm going to do another pre-call because art department had to get in there and build a turntable and some other things. So there's my hour, my pre-call, and I'm going to drag that back up where it belongs. And now we can just go through and put in, it's our hour and a half again to get up and going. And I can highlight it, or I can click it up using the toggle. Then we're just going to start putting our durations in again. And once we're done with all our durations, one thing I remembered, it's been a while since we did this spot, but I remember we actually brought in a second camera for this afternoon stuff because we have kids. So I'm going to combine some of these shots because I know we're going to end up using the second camera to get this close angle. And then I know our exteriors, we're going to use 2 cameras for those shots. So we can merge these. And then these last 2 singles through the window, we're also going to use 2 cameras so we get them at the same time. We don't want to go too late with these kids, so this helps us a little bit. So then I can go through and I'll put our times in. I need to add, let's see, let's add a banner to reset for the exterior, because that's going to take us, some time to get out there, but I imagine we're going to be pretty well set up for that. We'll have to clear everything out, and let's give Let's give ourselves 30 minutes to shoot that. Not a lot of time, but it's getting late, and I think we're going to make quick work of it. At this point then, I actually have a little extra time. So I could add another 30 minutes to this wrap time so we have some extra time. I think in the day I actually gave more time to the coverage of dad inside, but for right now we'll leave it like it is. And now I can go in and I can click and I can start adding requirements. So there's a requirements bar that's next to the cast bar, and you're going to enter the category, in this case art department, and then the element that belongs to that category. And it will appear in the strip. It'll do the same thing, category. In this case it will be special effects. Now all of these categories I have in my user settings. You can edit those, you can change them or add new ones. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to click on this requirements bar again. I'm going to add some props. I know we have our Snoopy book in this. And I could add other props here if I wanted to. You can just tab and it goes to the next one. And when you hit return, then it will, or you can just hit return and it'll go to the next one. And then if you hit tab, it'll take you to the save button. So in this case, I'm going to put in some hero product. Look at our dad, sausage with egg, and we're going to save that. And so that's again up there. And let's also add, there's more product. I could have entered it again at the same time I did dad's. And now these are all going to be the same. So I'm going to highlight these 3 strips. I'm going to go to the requirements. I'm going to look at the products. I could click on that and see if I want to copy all of those. So there you go. All those requirements are added. And then, you know what I can also do, just to show you, I can enter descriptions here too. So again, you click on the right side of the strip, your breakdown page comes up, and there's a description window where you can enter information. And you can affect that. You can change the font, you can change the color, bold, italics, all of that. So I'm going to keep entering descriptions, and eventually we'll get all the descriptions in. All the descriptions. So I'm going to show you one more thing. In this case, I want to copy some, but not all of the requirements. I can deselect them all, and I can choose just the ones I want to copy. And I'm going to fill them down. And now only those requirements go to the next strip. So you don't have to copy everything. You can choose what you want to copy. And again, you can either replace what's already there or you can add to what's already there. So now we're pretty much finished with our schedule. What else could we do? Well, if the shooting dates change, for example, we could go up here to the day menu, choose call time and date, and select a different date for the shoot day. Or we could go back to the edit project window, go onto the calendar, select move shoot days, and then we can move these days anywhere we'd like to. And then when we go back to our schedule, the shoot days have all been changed accordingly. So now that we've entered all the information, it's time to export a customized schedule. We're going to use a template that we've already built, or we can build a new template to basically present a schedule to make it look like we'd like it to. So I'm selecting a template that I've already built, and I'm going to choose on the calendar the date, day 1. So I just want to export one day at a time for the purposes of this demonstration. So I look at the header and the footer, I got my banner layout, I got all these places I can edit things, and the strip layout is where I do most of my editing. Let's just take a look right now at what the initial export looks like, and then I can see if there's anything I want to change format wise. So it takes a second for it to export. So I'm looking at it, you know, it doesn't look too bad. The cast column could be narrower, this first column could be narrower. You know, I'd like to make a new column just for product, which means that I may need a little more space on the page. So I'm going to take a look at what it would look like to put the description underneath the storyboard. So I just click this little button. It says place it under storyboards. Let's decrease the width of the shot column. Let's decrease the storyboards. And I'm going to go into requirements. I'm going to add a new column in the requirements column. Just hit the button and I can give this a name. I'm going to call this hero product. And then I'm just going to drag over whichever requirements I want to be displayed. In this case, it's just the product. So now let's go back into the strip layout and we can make whatever changes we want to. We can adjust column width. Let's make this cast column a little narrower. And we can adjust things like how many images we want displayed across a column. In this case, it's 4. We can make that fewer if we want, down to 1 or 2. You can even change the order of the columns on the page, so you can really customize it any way you want. So let's export it again. So now I'm looking at this new export, and It's okay. I'm not sure I like that description underneath the image. And I can decrease that hero product column. And I'd like to put the production company logo. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to take the description out from the storyboard. And let's go into the header. And I'm going to upload an image, which I already have in my files, which is the Spears and Arrows logo. Put that up on the upper right-hand side. And then let's see what it looks like now with the description in its own column and the new logo on. And you know what? I'm kind of liking this better. I've got my client, my advertising agency, my production company, and now I'm ready to make a PDF of this. So I'm going to push the PDF button, and I'm going to update the file name on this to Demo Day 1, and let's save this. So now I've got a PDF that's being formed, and I'm going to go down while I'm here, and let's go down to select our date range, and let's do the same thing to day 2. Just take a look at this, and we're going to export it and see what day 2 looks like with that same formatting. And so same thing, we'll just take a look at it. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. I like it, so I'm going to save that also as a PDF. And now what I can do is I can merge these 2 days together into one schedule if I'd like to. So I've got both of those days there. I just call this full schedule. It's already labeled there, and I'm going to merge them. And then I have both days in one schedule. Now there is a faster way to do this. If you go back to the page settings and select in your date range all the shoot days together, you can export them into one PDF all together using the same formatting. I find that each day tends to be so different that I like to format each day separately to make it look as good as it possibly can. But if speed is the priority, you can quickly export all the days together and not worry so much about formatting. Now that the schedule's done, you can go to the Assets page and find all the elements that you've entered into the schedule, from casts to requirements to sets. And with that information, you can make a day out of days report using the information from your cast list, your requirements, or your sets. You can also make a daily breakdown to show what information is being required for each day, and you can select which elements you'd like to include in the breakdown. You can also go back to the Edit Project page, and on the calendar view, you can build a new calendar with information on it per day. So in this case, I will select all my cast members, and then I will generate a PDF of the calendar that breaks out the cast members per day. So you can take a quick look at it and see who's playing on which day. So that's it. That's how you make a basic schedule. Now there are a lot of features that I haven't included in this video, including a lot more export customization tricks, like including cast and requirement images, and I'll cover feature and TV workflow in future videos, but this should be a good summary for a simple commercial schedule. And now that we're done, here's one of the finished spots from this schedule, directed by Don Broida.
Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a hero.
You're gonna need a cape. What about a sidekick? You gotta have a sidekick. And a cool name like Ladybug. No? Well, what kind of hero do you want to be?
This kind.